Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we get to the heart of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Jerry Porter.
And today we are joined all the way from Germany by our old friend Doris. Welcome back, Doris.
Hi, guys.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
I hope your flight was okay.
The red eye.
That's true. But it's worth it.
Definitely.
We appreciate you putting in the effort.
Yes.
And you've come all the way across the Atlantic for minute 54 of Temple of Doom, which begins with Indy getting to second base with a statue and ends with him putting on his Indiana Jones hat to explore a secret passage with Shorty.
Oh, yeah. Baseball references. I love them.
I'm not even sure I got that right. Is that second base?
I think it depends on, how desperate you are and where you are in your life.
How you spend the story when you tell your friends about it?
Exactly.
Okay.
But speaking of, this minute 54, for me is probably one of the, I'm not going to call it one of the greatest minutes, but one of the most influential minutes in my life. Because, Tommy, I've known you my whole life, and we've had a wonderful friendship ever since you broke my X-Wing in 1977.
That's what bonds are built on.
Broken Star Wars toys. Pete, since 1990, you and I have been like Siamese twins, but it's been better because we haven't had to share organs. And, Doris, you've weathered and contributed to all the monkey shines since Raiders Episode 1. You've been with us since the very beginning here. I feel like the Atlantic Ocean is just a puddle. But,
It's a mere drop,
It's a mere drop. So I'm glad to have this crew with me. I feel supported, and it's really nice because anybody who knows me knows that the opening seconds of minute 54 set me off on a tailspin that's lasted 33 years and counting.
Yep.
And I'm going to quote the beautiful feathered hair chanteuse Willie Scott while cupping my breasts.
Okay.
Hey, I'm right here.
Right.
So,
You're saying that had an effect on you, Jerry?
Yes, that had an effect on me. It blew, in 1984, this scene blew my puberty-addled mind.
Yeah.
As an 11-year-old, I spent hours alone in my bedroom choking on this concept that Willie is generously and passionately offering Indy free breast fondles.
And he has nothing better to do.
Yeah, he's not partaking.
Yeah.
And this whole thing looks so easy to an 11-year-old. This whole last 5 or 6 minute scene, you bring an apple to a girl, you drop that you're a scientist and you study, mating habits, and voila, you're fondling.
Yeah.
And you're fine. You don't even have to do anything. She's like, hey, I'm right here.
And she sounds really, really pissed off, too.
Yeah.
Hey, come on.
Enough with the statue.
I checked the German dubbing of that scene.
Oh, sure.
And in the original, she sounds pissed off. In the German, she sounds desperate.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Do tell.
Yeah, hey, ich bin auch noch da. As in, hello, I'm still in this room with you, Why are you behaving so crazy?
Wow, that doesn't make things better, Doris.
No, it's even worse.
It doesn't. German dubbing doesn't make anything better, usually.
Yeah, well, my first note for this minute is simply, I was 13 when this movie came out. Because
So was I.
This is not to give into crass cross promotion, but on that other show I do, the Caddyshack Minute, we talk a lot about, this age group where we were when these movies were coming out and stuff, and our experience with nudity in film and stuff like that, and sex in movies and stuff. And this is a movie that, at the time it was PG. I think it still is technically PG. You're supposed to go see it. You're allowed to go see it. But it's got this lovely woman cupping her breasts and saying, "Hey, I'm right here." And the message is totally clear. And as a 13, 12, 11-something-year-old, you're kind of like, oh, geez. This, like at that time, that was like seeing, a Playboy magazine or something. That was like, you couldn't get any crazier than that without like sneaking into the woods or something. Like, that was incredible.
Sneaking into the woods. Oh my God. Which, by the way, you did. You did, Tom. And
Oh,
I remember,
100%.
You did sneak into the woods, and I've hated you ever since because I never snuck into the woods. But anyway,
Now, guys, did you sneak into Connecticut woods or California woods?
It was Connecticut at the time.
Well, you snuck into a little Michigan woods.
I did sneak into
northern
Michigan
woods. That's like a whole different thing.
The stories of that excursion are boring. Let me tell you.
I mean, that's what's so sort of mind-boggling about this scene, because as an 11-year-old, that's just not how life works. Mm-hmm. Especially as an 11-year-old, it's not how life works right now either for me. But when you're 11 or 13 or whatever, there's so many things between you and that "hey, I'm right here" moment. Mm-hmm. It's like you have to buy a tie.
Yeah.
You have to grow facial hair. You have to write that report on Ponce de Leon. I still haven't finished that report. And like here, Indy just waltzes in, and I know he's the hero, and he's even kind of a little James Bondy in this whole movie. And it's just the cognitive dissonance is, I don't know. It just did a number on me.
Well, does that in any way, like, I know this is all about frustration and stuff, and Jerry's frustration, my frustration, who's ever watching the movie. But does it in some way, but does it in some way make you admire Indy more because he's absolutely focused on this thing that's going on that he's examining and studying and trying to figure out, that he's just not even blinking at Willie, that he's not even considering being distracted by her right now? Is there anything kind of cool? No. Oh, okay. No. Never mind.
He's just really, really stupid to pass on that. Look what he gets instead.
You're not making it better, Doris.
No.
I'm sitting here going, I'd be fine just to cop a feel on the statue. Like, where
really?
can I get one of those?
That's
you give
a
me a
nice
minute?
looking statue.
Yeah.
It
Sure.
is. Is that an apsara? Is the statue an apsara?
I don't know. I don't even know what an apsara is.
An
Score one for
apsara?
Jerry.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, all right, an apsara. No, it's like in Buddhist and Hindu, religions and mythology. It's sort of like I don't know, almost like a female guardian, or they have them at like Angkor Wat and all sorts of all around temples. Sort of that. Screw it. It's an apsara. It is. Hell, I'd make out with one. But I guess the main thing here that no one has discussed is that he just survived an assassination attempt.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's not coming into her room to get Nookie.
Right. Or treasure, really. He's just trying to figure out like where these assassins are coming from.
But
And
he
is everybody
hasn't
safe?
told that to her.
No. Well, the scene wouldn't be hysterically funny without that, Jerry. It wouldn't be a comedy of errors that everybody loves.
Well, I'm going to jump ahead just slightly here. And I'm going to come back to when he actually opens the door. But a lot of the reactions here are strange because when Short Round comes in, he just saunters right in like he's just been enjoying a day, like having a picnic. Like he hasn't just seen a guy like brutally killed. He's not been sitting there alone with a dead body. He just saunters right in, and he's like, "Hey guys,
I buried that body for you, Dr. Jones."
I cut it down from the fan. All alone.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
What I've seen of Short Round, he's perfectly capable of doing just that.
That's true, yeah. We were worried about him the last couple of minutes. Like, hey, Indy just left him with a dead body that he just murdered. Like, is Shorty going to be okay? But maybe he's a resilient little cuss. We'll see.
Well, we can't tell if he's either, like, insanely well-adjusted for a 7-year-old who's, like, 50, or if he's just, like, shoving it all down, like, below his big toe.
Yeah. He's going to snap one of these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I read the novelization, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
That's my thing. There's something in the next minute that kind of gets an insight into his character a little bit more. Not for this minute, though.
Okay, yeah. Save it for next minute.
Right,
that sounds good.
Okay.
Now I'm going to tune in.
Yeah.
Wow. We have the cliffhanger. I mean, Willie, she's really nice looking in that scene.
She is.
Silk pajamas. She doesn't look 1930s to me. She looks very 1980s to me, but she looks nice.
Yeah.
Hey, you're telling me.
Yeah.
Well, that whole scene is very titillating. I mean, the way she holds herself, the way she holds her breasts, the way she sort of implores Indy.
The way she holds herself, yeah.
Yeah, holds herself. The way she holds herself. And, I mean, her feathered hair is, like, there's a lot of bad thing about the 80s. Feathered hair was horrible. I mean, Christy McNichol, Little Darlings, the whole thing. But in this scene, you're like, God, I wish I was in the 80s again.
Yeah.
It looks
As a matter of fact, I never left. That's the problem. I never left. For minute 54, I've never left the 80s.
Didn't we ever leave the 80s? I mean...
Not all of us.
We're discussing movies of the 80s here, so...
What are you getting at?
Minute by minute.
To give Kate Capshaw a nice compliment here, her reaction when he finally pushes the statue in and the door opens, she does this leap that's very effective and that I like a lot. She does this kind of like jolted, kind of startled leap that's really good.
Yeah.
I have more and more respect for Kate Capshaw minute by minute.
Totally. Yeah, if this was a different...
Absolutely,
If this is like a more satisfying movie overall, she'd be fantastic in it, and she'd be a shining star of the thing. Or if there was like another movie with this kind of character or something, but it was, better fleshed out and a little, handled a little better, executed a little better, she'd be fantastic in it.
And I would say that with what she was given, she's A+.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not a very good character. And she's doing her best.
She is.
She's doing an A+. She's doing a fantastic job, I think, acting through the Willie morass.
Another one for the dictionary of Jared.
Yeah. Somebody out there write that down.
Yeah. It's one word, not two, not more ass.
I think we've been through enough episodes with you, Jerry, to know how to spell more ass. Thank you.
So we find Indy opens this door, this secret door, and on the wall is a kind of a matching drawing of the little parchment that the kid brings him. And he starts reading and he says, "Follow in the footsteps of Shiva." And Willie asks him what that means, and then Short Round kind of saunters in, and then Indy finishes it, "Do not betray these truths."
Yeah, she never gets an answer from Indy.
Yeah, neither do we.
So
do we ever get an answer?
No,
and I have a huge question, like a multifaceted question here, and that is, what exactly is this chamber that he's in? Like he's found a secret passage. Who built this? So some options I was thinking of. Was this originally, like the Temple of Doom, originally a happy temple, and this was just a shortcut that a guy could go from his room to go down to church? And so that's why it's just like a nice painting. Or is this an elaborate passageway, like with traps that are meant to ensnare followers of Shiva, like perhaps Indy, and lead them into these traps like spikes or whatever coming up and to capture them? Or is it a secret passage that someone left so that a good guy could come in and infiltrate the evil Temple of Doom? And that's why it's saying, "Do not betray these truths." Or is it some kind of a resistance thing?
Like people
like a
trying to
resistance
get
cell tagged it with a fight on the good fight. I'm really confused.
I forget what the timing is of like the Thuggee existing and like when this palace might have been built and stuff. Like, could the temple have been there way earlier and then the palace was built and then the builders put in these secret passageways to the Temple of Doom for whatever purpose it is?
Yeah, because the Thuggee had been around for a couple hundred years. Like, it could have the palace could have built on top of the temple.
So maybe there was some like, I don't know, maybe it was totally intentional, or maybe there's like some faction who secretly put that in or something.
Like the Jedi building their temple above the Sith temple on Coruscant.
Oh, right. Is that true? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
You've been reading some comic books or cereal boxes or something.
Oh, my God. I've been found out. I'm a nerd.
Nerd.
Well, what is this mural and talking about Shiva and betraying Shiva and following the footsteps? What does that have to do with Kali?
Oh my God, that's a good question.
Because Kali is the Temple of Doom.
Yeah, Kali's actually a good gal, not a good guy, but she's actually a good goddess in real life, and the Thuggee have sort of corrupted her. So is this like a thing like don't follow this evil practice sign?
But it's kind of, it's.
But the sign is about Shiva, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the sign's about Shiva.
Yeah.
But is that a lure to get someone? Oh, you like Shiva? Come this way. Step into the spikes.
Oh, maybe that's weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I can't figure it out.
Like, and what is the connection between the wall mural and the kid's cloth? Like, does every kid, as you become enslaved in the Temple of Doom, do you receive a complimentary cloth upon arrival?
Yeah, it's like when you're on the airplane and they give you the hot towel.
Right, exactly. Like, I'm wondering, what is the relationship between the two? And it says, follow the footsteps of Shiva, and then the cloth says, do not betray this truth.
Yeah, do we need either this mural or the cloth in this movie at all?
No.
Like, he wouldn't find that passage and not go follow it to wherever it leads.
He could have just found the passageway, and it could have actually said, this way to the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
He found it just because he followed the breeze, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he
was trying to find a secret passage.
He found it because the Thuggee assassin came in and got him all hot and bothered, and that made me wonder: is this Thuggee assassin actually like an unsung hero? Is he a good guy whose sole job is to get Indy to find that secret passage and think he's found it on his own?
Oh, is this one of those like alternate Judas things?
Judas
had to betray Jesus so that Jesus would get crucified to save our sins. So Judas is the good guy here.
Indy asked the guy to attack him to send him on his path, to fulfill his destiny from Shiva.
Well, he wouldn't have found it if he hadn't gone back to Willie's room. There's nothing on that small piece of cloth to indicate any way in.
Yeah, doesn't it say the exact same thing on the parchment and on the wall? Isn't it the same message?
Copy.
Yeah. So, okay, can I rewrite parts of this movie? Like, couldn't the kid just show up, Wheezy Jefferson, and just say something like, I don't know, Kali, or anything? Just the fact that she shows up and she's alive would set Indy to, and they're going to send him to Pankot anyway. He can't get to Delhi without them taking him to Pankot. And then he gets here, and then he gets attacked. And then he finds a secret passage with or without that mural on it. And then he goes into the Temple of Doom. He finds the Shankara stones. I said Shankara. And, like all of that could happen without these two images that Pete lets us know are baloney. Like they're not actual, parts of the religion or anything. They're not part of this history. They're kind of made up for the movie. By the way, does that count as archaeology if it's not actual real archaeology? Is he doing any kind of archaeology here? Even if it's totally made up?
There's no one in his immediate audience, as in Willie or Shorty, to prove him otherwise that he's doing something wrong.
That's true.
He's making it up on the spot.
Yeah.
There's something strange that I noticed is the match that he lights there burns a really long time. Didn't you notice that?
Oh, yeah. It's a movie match.
Hardly any flickering.
Yeah,
no wind.
Yeah.
I mean, he discovers the passage because there's a breeze. He goes in there. There's no air.
See, I think that might be, the guiding hand of Shiva.
Yeah.
Once again, much like we had Yahweh and Raise the Lost Ark kind of alley-ooping Indy here and there, I think this might maybe that's a good point. That's a good point. Doris,
didn't we talk about that last minute a little bit? Like
we did.
We surmised it was maybe just Shiva wind that was blowing the plant.
Yeah,
but didn't I say something that was really kind of scientific, like high school science level, like kind of like, oh, the wind is sort of channeled through a tighter space, or
a wind tunnel kind of effect? Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah, the wind comes back in the next minute.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, so the whole point is this. I mean, this has a very Hardy Boys a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's match this clue with our other clue. I suppose the analogy here might be, the scene in Raiders with Doug Henning, where he's like, "Take back one kadam."
Yeah.
I guess it's like we're assembling clues and a story, but in this case, I don't know. They don't add up.
Yeah.
Oh, I went back and I did look it up. The parchment and the wall say the exact same thing, so it's not any new information.
Gosh, that's silly.
It's not. So it's just a clue, and then that's.
Or it's just like, the kid had a painting of the wall, or like had a copy of the wall painting on parchment form.
You could search the entire world over before you'd find that passageway with the parchment. I mean, the kid would have to be like, it's in the palace, in the bedroom with the green bread spread. Behind the boobs. The Apsara with the boobs. The really nice ones.
Yeah. Because that's, I always assumed, it seems like that parchment is like ripped off of something else, like a larger thing. Mm-hmm. But then, like, now here is like a full representation of the exact same thing. Like, was there a big, like a larger mural that's been erased mostly, except for that one little part or something?
Do we ever see any of those pictures ever again, or parchments or clues?
No.
No, I don't believe we do.
What are we doing?
We never either get to see another room in the palace, I think.
But I mean, there's no other, like, either a picture of Shiva or a mural of Shiva or a parchment of Shiva.
I don't even think they talk about Shiva again.
Yeah, or like a kid who brings a second cloth.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, we put the two cloths together, and now we can find Luke Skywalker.
I mean, the Hardy Boys do a better job.
Yeah.
They do a better job by the second commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next time they talk about Shiva is right at the end on the bridge, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the key word here is betray. That's the key word here is do not betray this truth, which the whole thing is very cryptic. I mean, you're like, well, what is the truth? Following the footsteps of Shiva.
Wait, is that what Indy says at the end? Is he saying to Malaram that he betrayed Shiva?
Yes.
But what does that even mean? Because it seems like Malaram doesn't give a hoot about Shiva. He's all Kali all the way.
No, we'll get there. But I think
okay.
We'll
I don't want to
spoil it.
Yeah, but I mean that's the only thing. I'm just trying to cobble together some Hardy Boys here.
No, yeah.
Yeah, the word betray does come back up.
It makes it sound like it was a bigger part of the story, but then got somehow, chipped away until there's just these two little pieces of betray left.
Well, this leads me to believe that this is a message, like that someone who loves Shiva is trying to leave a message, do something about this. Don't let the temple stay like it is. So maybe that does give us a hint on who built it.
Oh, interesting.
Wouldn't they have found it by now?
You work so hard, Pete. I mean, honestly, you just lucubrating on your your conspiracy theories, so the rest of us can sleep well at night. Like whether or not this is, this might be, what did you call it, like a resistance passage?
Yeah.
I mean,
like a resistance cell pulled it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. That's good. I'm glad I was asleep last night, but
Is there actually, speaking of the passage again, is there actually like a main entrance to the Temple of Doom other than this? Like when we see later on, we see all the kids escaping. It seems like they're coming through the palace. Like there's not.
Does every guard have to go through and press the boobs? Yeah. Like, is that the best part of their day? And like, the boobs wouldn't be that full with all that use. Like if
they'd be all
everybody's
grubby.
Yeah, they'd be like eroded and grubby and.
Should be a B cup by now.
They're watching the ceremony later on. I mean, there must be like dozens of people watching that sacrifice, and if they all have to go through Willie's bedroom, I mean, hello.
Right. But we don't ever see like a main entrance. Like we see like a cliff thing and we see this, and that's kind of it.
Although I like
That's
thinking
sort of
now
weird.
that whole time that Indy and Willie are having their conversation, there are like guys tiptoeing past them in the background that we never see the entire time.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
I guess it's a secret passage, or possibly a resistance passage,
Yeah.
or possibly a passage that you're like Shiva worshippers, as you said, Pete, are supposed to go down and then they'll meet their demise violently.
Yeah.
Now, so Indy makes this little discovery, and he turns to Shorty and says, "Hey, get our stuff," or whatever. But it's like if you had just made this discovery and you're like, "Oh my gosh, a secret passage," you'd be like, "Now first, I got to get my other leather jacket on and my hat, and I'll put my other shirt on and unbutton it halfway down, and get my other pants." And you're like, why does he need to keep changing into his Indiana Jones outfit?
Well, I think it's a superhero costume because, well, first of all,
It
he
is.
says our stuff, and our stuff is just his stuff. So like we learn that it's
Right.
the royal we. But then
Yeah.
like he's standing over a pit of hot lava, so it's got to be hot, and he's going to get
Yeah.
like a leather jacket and a hat. So that leads me to believe that they have some kind of special powers. It's like his superhero outfit.
Yeah. But that's what it comes across as, and it's goofy. It's like, why, like we saw him change on the airplane. He comes out in his Indiana Jones costume, and Willie thinks he looks nuts. And I'm like, oh my God, he does look nuts. Like, they shouldn't call that much attention to it. He should just either be in it or not.
And he's dripping with sweat, like he's just covered in perspiration. And he's like, "Get my heavy leather jacket."
Right, yeah. And some sort of wrap. My hands are cold.
Now, I would say, like, do you guys remember in Raiders when Marion seduced Indy on the Bantu Wind and threw his hat off right before they got busy? Mm-hmm. So yes. Now it's second 55 of minute 54. Indy puts on his hat, officially ending sex time.
Again.
That never happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of, and I'm just trying to, bring it all back.
Right,
The opening of this minute, it's at the end of this minute, he puts the hat on, and you're like, yeah, sex time is over.
Yeah, and hero time is back, and he
Yes.
steps into out of the light and in silhouette again. So we have another indie silhouette moment.
Right.
Yeah. And the music here is very similar to the beginning of Raiders, the music at the beginning of Raiders, and it's even got the same little kind of woodblock sounds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we get a really interesting shot because there are also some background sounds that are taken directly from the Dagobah soundtrack. Like there are these Dagobah jungle background sounds. And the color palette and the imagery and the composition when he steps into that cave, like that room, is almost identical to Darth Vader showing up in the cave on Dagobah. Like if you watch them side by side, it's almost
Yeah.
identical.
I did notice that, and the
Yeah.
Dagobah sound was lifted
It
directly.
was verbatim. Yeah, it's the exact
Verbatim.
quote. Yeah,
Now, but while we're on that, do you say Dagobah,
but it is Dagobah with an A.
Tom?
Is it? Wait a minute. I got to look this up immediately.
Wait, Tom, wait, hang on.
I say,
Doris,
Yeah.
how do you
How do I
pronounce
say?
that? Yeah, how do you pronounce Yoda's home?
Well, I say Dagobah. The German dubbing of Star Wars says Dagobah.
wow. They're totally right, Jerry. We've been saying Dagobah this whole time. And it's Dagobah. Or Dagobah.
I want to go into the woods now.
Dagobah.
I want to go
Since when
into
am
the.
I the reference point? Come on,
Wow.
guys.
Well, now this movie's ruining Star Wars for me.
My God, we
Wait.
ruined your childhood again.
It's Dagobah.
Wait,
but
it's
Tom, you and I have been saying Dagobah.
Steuben, by the way.
I want to go to the North Michigan woods and forget it all. Release a little tension.
Just disappear into the woods for a little while.
I mean, for Star Wars, we have the explanation that people have different dialects, so they pronounce some names differently. We
There's a
do
lot of
not
Han
have
and
that for
Han.
Indiana Jones. So.
Leah.
Yeah, but
and
no,
Leia.
no human being not in the movie says Han.
Lando says hand, doesn't he?
I
Lando
think some
does?
people do.
No, but
Yeah,
I mean
Lando
that's what I
says-
mean. No real person in the real world, actually calls him Han.
okay.
Yeah, I mean he's
know if
called
that's
Han
true.
in the movie like twice or whatever. Lando.
Yeah.
Leia does it too.
Yeah. I don't know. Some people say Leah, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I said Princess Leia up until like 1995.
Do you say Falcon or Falcon?
Falcon.
Well, that's just a word. That's a word. You're either right or you're wrong.
That's a good one. I don't know. We don't have that many of these in Raiders though, or in Temple of Doom, like Mola Ram. We don't say. Do you say Mola Ram or Mola Ram?
Well, do you say Belloc or Balosh?
Everybody's yeah.
At least there's precedent for that in Raiders.
That's right.
Oh wait, this just in.
Oh.
From Professor Christy Porter.
Get this down.
Real archaeologists don't light matches on ancient murals.
She's so right.
That's true.
But then, of course, we know the history that Indy has around ancient artifacts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fire.
And he holds it right next to that parchment, too.
Yeah, that makes me so nervous. That parchment looks like it's just going to go poof.
Yeah. Poof.
And it's gone.
What parchment?
Well, apparently it says the exact same thing as the wall.
Yeah,
They don't need it.
But you have the copy with you.
Oh, it's like a mobile. It's like a little handheld.
Yeah.
Just in case you forgot that it says.
Shiva on the go.
Yeah, Shiva on the go.
I just kind of feel bad for Shorty in that scene because he's always the one who's to get the stuff. He's always the one who has to carry everything. And he's just a little kid.
Well, he's the sidekick. I mean, that sort of falls into the regular sidekick.
Is he?
Yeah, then again, would you take... Okay, he's 12 years old, even though he looks like 7. Would you take a 12-year-old into an unknown catacomb with you when you've got a grown woman there?
Well, if it's Willie and Short Round,
Yeah, but
I'm going to go with Shorty.
You've been discussing Indy's paternal instincts, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
they kind of take a pause right now because I would have left the kid.
Yeah.
What's interesting, not to give anything away, but in the next several minutes, we'll see who causes problems and who actually saves the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough.
And we'll have something in the next minute that calls into question whether Shorty's just the sidekick.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking towards the future, so maybe we should wrap this one up and come back next time for 55. What does that sound like to everybody?
Good idea.
All right.
Just glad to get over this hump.
I know. You're going to be okay, all right, Jerry? We're here for you. We got
I
a community.
appreciate it. Doris, Tom,
Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah.
It's been, I really do appreciate it.
You can leave the show now if you need to.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think I might.
Oh,
I don't know what else we have to offer you.
It's just all downhill and in a nice, smooth sailing kind of way.
Sure. Yeah, you can just coast from now on.
Yes.
But Doris, thank you for joining us today, and I hope you can come back
you're
tomorrow.
welcome. I sure can.
That would be beautiful. And Pete, where can people write to us with their psychological advice for Jerry?
Come join us on Facebook. We've got a regular Facebook page, and then we've got a separate thing called the Indiana Jones Minute Listeners Crusade, which is a group where you can join and come tell us all about your thoughts on Jerry and his thoughts on this movie.
Perfect. And please come back tomorrow for minute 55 of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Oops!
Oops!
Breath.